In 1992 Hollywood lost its legendary Rifleman, but Chuck Connors left behind more than just a TV show, from his secret role in Cold War diplomacy to shocking affairs that nearly ruined his career. Connors lived a life as dramatic as any Western. Now 30 years later, the truth finally emerges: how a Brookland baseball player became a Soviet hero, why his 3 marriages ended in scandal, and the dark secret he kept until his final days. Chuck Connors was born as Kevin Joseph Aloysius Connors on April 10, 1921 in Brooklyn, New York. His parents, Alan and Marcel Connors, were Irish immigrants who worked hard to provide for their family during the tough times of the Great Depression. Chuck's father worked as a longshoreman, and his mother took on small jobs to help make ends meet. Life wasn't easy, but it taught Chuck the value of hard work. Chuck grew up in a working-class neighborhood, spending a lot of time playing sports at the Bay Ridge Boys Club. He loved baseball and dreamed of one day playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers. At 14, Chuck's life took a big turn. His talent for sports caught the attention of scouts, and he was offered an athletic scholarship to Adelphia Academy, a private high school in Brooklyn. This was a big opportunity for him, and he made the most of it. At Adelphi, he excelled in multiple sports: baseball, basketball, football, and even track on the baseball field. Chuck was a strong first baseman, and in 1939 he was named one of the top high school players in Brooklyn. After graduating high school, Chuck had more than 25 colleges offering him athletic scholarships. He chose Seton Hall University in New Jersey, where he played both basketball and baseball. On the basketball court, he was a backup center, using his height and defense to help the team win, but it was baseball where he really stood out. In one memorable game in 1942, Chuck hit 2 home runs and had 6 RB, catching the attention of professional scouts. During this time, Chuck finally got the nickname he is known for. While playing first base, he would yell, "Chuck it to me," and the name stuck. Chuck's college years were interrupted by World War II. In 1942 he joined the Army and trained at Fort Knox. Because of his height and athletic skills, he was chosen to be a tank warfare instructor. He later worked at West Point, training soldiers and even teaching famous football players who went on to win national championships. Despite being in the military, Chuck stayed close to sports. He played semi-professional baseball in Brooklyn during his free time, and even played professional basketball in the American Basketball League. After serving 3 years in the Army, Chuck was honorably discharged in 1946. After leaving the Army, he joined the Boston Celtics during their very first season in 1946. Standing 6 feet 5 inches, he played as a forward and center. Connors played in 49 games that season, scoring an average of 4.5 points per game. His best game came on December 13, 1946, when he scored 15 points in a close win against the Providence Steamrollers. But his basketball career didn't last long. In February 1947, after just a few months with the Celtics, Connors left to chase another dream: baseball. On May 1, 1949, he got his big chance with the Brooklyn Dodgers, but it didn't start well. In his one and only game for the Dodgers, Connors hit into a double play and the team lost. Instead of giving up, he worked hard in the minor leagues, playing for teams like the Montreal Royals. In 1951, he made it back to the majors with the Chicago Cubs CLS. That season he played 66 games and had some big moments. On July 18, 1951, he hit his first home run against the New York Giants. A month later, on August 26, he hit another one, also against the Giants. By the end of the season, Connors had 48 hits and a batting average of 239. Not bad for someone who split his time between 2 sports. Chuck Connors' Hollywood story began in the most unexpected way. In 1952, he was playing baseball for the Los Angeles Angels, a minor league team. One sunny afternoon, during a game against the Sacramento Solins, something unusual happened. Chuck hit a massive home run. It wasn't just any home run, it cleared the fence and caught the attention of someone in the crowd: Billy Gordon, a casting director from MGM. Billy couldn't ignore Chuck's tall, strong frame and rugged face. After the game, he walked right into the locker room and handed Chuck his card. He told him, "You should think about acting," but Chuck didn't take it seriously. He was focused on baseball and didn't see himself as an actor. Then, just a couple of weeks later, Chuck hurt himself during a game. It wasn't serious, but it gave him time to think. Out of curiosity, he decided to visit MGM and see what this acting thing was about. To his surprise, they offered him a screen test. Right away he gave it a shot and they liked what they saw. Just 3 days later, Chuck signed his first Hollywood contract. That quick decision changed his life forever. His first role was in a movie called Pat and Mike, a romantic comedy starring two huge Hollywood stars, Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn. Chuck's part was small. He played a police captain, but it was still a big moment for someone who had just started acting on his first day of filming. Chuck was excited but nervous. He arrived early and spent hours getting ready. His scene didn't happen until late that night, but when the cameras finally rolled, he nailed it in just 2 takes. Spencer Tracy even pulled him aside after and told him, "You've got something, stick with." Those words meant the world to Chuck and gave him the confidence to keep going. After that, Chuck dove headfirst into acting. He took on every role he could find, big or small. Between 1952 and 1958, he appeared in over 20 movies. One of his most memorable early roles was in Disney's Old Yeller 1957, where he played Bern Sanderson. The movie was a huge hit, and that helped Chuck get noticed even more. He also appeared in films like Trouble Along the Way with John Wayne and The Big Country, where he acted alongside Gregory Peck and Charlton Heston. Each role helped him improve as an actor and build his reputation. In addition to his film work, Connors made frequent television appearances, featuring in 18 different TV shows during this time. Balancing both film and TV was uncommon for actors back then, but Connors' work ethic and versatility allowed him to succeed in both mediums. These 6 years of hard work, diverse roles and screen time, totaling over 1,400 minutes, prepared him for the next chapter of his career. Chuck Connors became famous as Lucas McCain in The Rifleman, but it didn't happen right away. In 1957, Connor played a father in Disney's Old Yeller. The producers of The Rifleman saw his performance and thought he was perfect for their show. At first, Connor said no because the pay was less than what he earned doing other acting jobs, but the producers really wanted him, so they offered more money and even gave him 5% ownership of the show. That convinced him to take the role. Once Connors was cast, he started training to prepare. He practiced horseback riding and learned how to spin in and shoot a rifle in a way that looked cool on camera. He worked with a gun expert named Rod Redwing to master the moves. Connor practiced so much that his hands got sore and blistered, but he didn't stop until he got it just right. The show premiered on September 30th, 1958, and people loved it immediately. Over 14 million viewers tuned in to see the first episode. Connor's character, Lucas Kane, was tough but also kind, especially with his son Mark, played by Johnny Crawford. The father-son bond became one of the most loved parts of the show. Critics said Connors did a great job showing both strength and emotion. The rifle in the show was also a big deal. It wasn't just a regular rifle. It was a Winchester 1892 that had been modified to make it unique. The lever was made extra large so Connor could spin it in a flashy way to the gun. This spinning move became his signature and was shown at the start of every episode. The rifle was also able to shoot really fast because of a special screw in the trigger. This made for exciting scenes where McCain could outgun a bunch of bad guys in seconds. The rifle was so popular that Winchester later made a similar model for fans in real life, but the show wasn't just about action. What made The Rifleman different was its focus on family. Lucas McCain was a widowed father, raising his son alone in the Old West. This wasn't common on TV at the time, where most families were shown as having both parents. The show often explored the challenges Lucas faced as both a father and a protector. In one episode, he struggled with letting Mark testify in court because he worried about his son's safety. In another, Lucas had to control his own anger while teaching Mark how to deal with emotions. The relationship between Lucas and Mark felt real, and it connected with a lot of viewers. Single fathers in particular wrote letters to Connors, thanking him for showing that they weren't alone in their struggles. One widower wrote, "Your show has given me the courage to keep going." Chuck Connor wasn't just the star of The Rifleman, he had a big role behind the scenes too. By the second season, he started attending meetings with the writers. He pitched story ideas, and some of them became favorite episodes. One of these, the photographer, was inspired by an experience Connors had with an excited fan during his baseball career. Connors also made sure the dialogue fit the character of Lucas McCain. He wanted McCain to sound like a real rancher from that time, so he often rewrote lines to include old-fashioned slang. Connor also cared about making McCain a relatable character. He didn't want McCain to seem like a perfect hero. Instead, he pushed for storylines that showed McCain's flaws and moral struggles. In one episode, Waste McCain accidentally kills an innocent man, Connor fought for this story because he felt it was important to show the heavy responsibility of carrying a rifle. Connors also brought in guest stars like his former baseball teammate Duke Snider, and helped up-and-coming actors get their start, including Dennis Hopper, who appeared in the pilot episode. By the final season, Connor had so much influence that he was credited as a story consultant on some episodes. He even co-wrote the two-part series finale, making sure it tied up loose ends and revisited old characters. The Rifleman became the fourth highest-rated show on TV in its first season, a huge achievement given the tough competition. It premiered on September 30, 1958 and reached 14.6 million households with a Nielsen rating of 33.1. The father-son relationship drew many viewers, while the thrilling action sequences captured others. By February 1959, 78% of viewers said they watched the show for the family bond, while 92% of male viewers aged 18 to 49 enjoyed the action. The show's success led to merchandise like toy rifles, lunchboxes, and comic books, generating $2 million in sales within 3 months of its premiere. It also earned 3 Emmy nominations in its first season and stayed popular throughout its 5-year run, even ranking 27th in its final season. Decades later, reruns of The Rifleman still attract fans. A 2018 MTV survey showed it remained a favorite among viewers aged 55 and older after The Rifleman ended in 1963. Chuck Connor faced a big challenge. The role of Lucas McCain had made him famous, but it also trapped him in the image of a Western hero. The show had lasted 5 seasons with 168 episodes, and viewers couldn't separate Connor from the character. This TYP casting became a problem. Connor wanted to prove he could play other roles, so he rejected many offers to do more westerns. In fact, he turned down 8 Western TV pilots in just 2 years after The Rifleman. While he hoped this would open up new opportunities, it actually slowed his career for a while. To break away from his cowboy image, Connor tried something very different in the 1964 film Move Over Darling. He played a stiff, formal banker alongside Doris Day and James Garner. It was a big change from his rugged frontier roles, but the film didn't help him much. Producers and casting directors still saw him as Lucas